When people talk about survival games, two titles constantly come up despite looking completely different on the surface, which are Unturned and Project Zomboid. One looks like a blocky sandbox inspired by games like Minecraft, while the other presents itself as a brutally realistic zombie apocalypse simulator. Yet both games have built passionate communities, survived for years in a crowded genre, and continue to attract new players. The question is simple: which game is better? Are you guys trying to set up your own Unturned server but you don't really know where to start? Then Pine Hosting has you covered. Pine Hosting is very user friendly and not hard at all to master. I literally had no idea how to do anything, but with Pine Hosting's navigation and super easy interface, I learned the basics very shortly. They have locations all around the world, cheap pricing, and they also offer a variety of games. There's not just Unturned servers, they have other game servers such as Minecraft, Ark, Project Zomboid, Rust, and a lot more. My favorite feature from Pine Hosting is the plugin and workshop installer. With just a simple click, you guys can install certain plugins. And make sure to use code LDG for 30% off, and let's get straight back into the video. The answer to this depends entirely on what you want from a survival experience. To understand why, we need to look at how each game approaches survival, exploration, combat, progression, multiplayer, and perhaps most importantly, the feeling that they create. So let's begin with first impressions. The first thing most people notice about Unturned is its appearance. The game uses a simple, low polygon art style that immediately makes it seem less serious than many other zombie survival games. At first glance, some players dismiss it as casual or simplified experience, but that assumption quickly falls apart once you start playing. As for Project Zomboid, this creates the opposite reaction. Its perspective, detailed mechanics, and realistic systems immediately communicate that this is a game that takes survival very seriously. From the moment you load into the world, you feel vulnerable. Every decision matters and every mistake has consequences. These visual styles perfectly represent the design philosophies behind each game. Unturned focuses on accessibility, freedom, and fast-paced gameplay. As for Project Zomboid, it focuses on realism, tension, and long-term survival. When it comes to survival mechanics, Project Zomboid is operating on a completely different level. In Project Zomboid, survival is the entire game. You have to manage hunger, thirst, fatigue, injuries, illness, panic, boredom, depression, weight, and even the quality of your sleep. A simple scratch can become a very serious problem. A poorly planned trip can leave you stranded without food. Something as ordinary as carrying too much weight can dramatically affect your character's performance. The game constantly asks players to think several days ahead. Do you have enough food? Do you have a backup weapon? And can you escape if a horde appears? Meanwhile, Unturned simplifies many of these systems. You obviously still need food, water, medical supplies, and weapons, but the mechanics are easier to understand and to manage. Instead of spending significant time maintaining your character's daily needs, you're encouraged to focus on exploration, combat, and gathering resources. This makes Unturned far more approachable for new players. The trade-off is that Project Zomboid often creates more memorable survival stories. In Project Zomboid, surviving for a month feels like a genuine achievement. Surviving for 6 months can feel like a miracle. Every chapter develops a unique history of success, close calls, and mistakes. The game famously begins with a simple statement: "This is how you died." And that sentence perfectly captures the entire experience, because you're not trying to win, you're trying to survive for as long as possible before the inevitable happens. Combat is another area where two games take dramatically different approaches. Unturned offers combat that feels closer to a traditional action game. Firearms are plentiful, aiming is relatively straightforward, and players can quickly become effective fighters. Whether you're killing towns, battling zombies, or fighting other players on PvP servers, combat is fast and often exciting. As for Project Zomboid, this treats combat as a desperate struggle for survival. Even a small group of zombies can become dangerous, because weapons break and characters can become exhausted. Poor positioning can quickly lead to death, and instead of making players feel powerful, Project Zomboid constantly reminds them how fragile they are. A single zombie isn't scary because it's strong. It's scary because one mistake can end dozens of hours of progress. However, some players may find this exhausting. Not everyone wants encounter to feel like a life or death situation, and that's where Unturned shines. Exploring is another pretty cool comparison. Unturned's maps are designed around discovery and adventure. Players travel between cities, military compounds, farms, airports, and hidden locations, searching for better loot and resources. The world feels like a playground full of opportunities. Project Zomboid world feels much more grounded. Towns resemble real communities, buildings contain believable items, the environment tells stories through abandoned homes, damaged streets, and empty stores. Exploration becomes less about finding legendary loot and more about finding practical necessities. A hardware store might be more valuable than a military installation, and a warehouse full of generators might matter more than a pile of weapons. The game constantly encourages realistic thinking. In Unturned, progression often revolves around acquiring better gear, Better weapons, stronger armor, more supplies, and improved vehicles all contribute to a feeling of advancement. Players can become extremely powerful compared to where they started. Project Zomboid handles progression differently. Your character develops skill over time. You become a better composer, a better mechanic, a better farmer, better cook. The progression is slower, but often feels more meaningful because it reflects knowledge and experience rather than simply collecting stronger equipment. One of the biggest differences between these games appears when we discuss multiplayer. Unturned has been known for its multiplayer community. Large servers, faction warfare, PvP battles, roleplay communities, and custom content creates endless opportunities for interaction. Many players spend hundreds of hours in PvP servers building bases and competing against other groups. In many ways, multiplayer is one of Unturned's defining features. Project Zomboid also supports multiplayer, but the experience feels very different. Rather than emphasizing competition, many servers focus on cooperating and shared survival. Players have to work together to secure resources, defend safe houses, and build sustainable communities. The challenge often comes from surviving the world rather than defeating other players. Of course, PvP does exist in Project Zomboid as well, but the overall atmosphere tends to be slower and more survival focused. Modding deserves special attention because both games benefit enormously from their communities. Unturned has accumulated years of community-made maps, servers, weapons, and gameplay modifications. This content helps keep the experience fresh and allows players to customize their adventures. As for Project Zomboid's modding scene, it is equally impressive and arguably one of the resources for its continued popularity. Players can add vehicles, professions, weapons, realism systems, visual improvements, and entirely new mechanics. The result is a game that can be transformed into any survival experience imaginable. But perhaps the most important comparison isn't mechanics or features, it's the atmosphere. Unturned creates excitement, you spot a helicopter, you discover loot, you encounter another player, you finish quests. The game generates stories through action. As for Project Zomboid, this game creates anxiety, you hear glass breaking, you notice a door left open, you realize your food supplies are running low, you see a horde moving towards your safe house. Both approaches are very effective, but they appeal to different emotions. If you enjoy adventure, action, exploration, and multiple chaos, Unturned often delivers those expectations better. If you enjoy immersion, realism, careful planning, and the constant pressure of survival, Project Zomboid usually provides the deeper experience. So which game truly wins? For accessibility, Unturned wins this. For realism, Project Zomboid wins. For past-phased multiplayer action, Unturned definitely wins. For long-term survival depth, Project Zomboid will win. For casual sessions with friends, Unturned has the advantage. And for creating unforgettable survival stories, Project Zomboid often takes the crown. Ultimately, comparing these two games is a little bit comparing an action movie to a survival documentary. Both involve zombies, both involve surviving the apocalypse, but they are trying to accomplish different goals. Unturned wants players to jump in, explore, fight, build, and create stories through freedom and player interaction. And Project Zomboid wants players to experience what surviving a zombie apocalypse might actually feel like, complete with all the fear, planning, and uncertainty that comes with it. Both games succeed by offering two completely different visuals of survival. So if you're looking for a fun, accessible zombie sandbox, Unturned is your recommendation. And if you're searching for a detailed, unforgiving, and immersive survival experience, Project Zomboid remains one of the strongest games in that entire genre. Let me know what you guys prefer, let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys have played both games. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!